Going live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the March 7th, 2024 Police and Public Safety meeting. I'm going to begin by taking attendance. I have Councilmember Bren here. Supervisor Puccioni will be attending later. Here, Deputy Chief Twitty, Lieutenant Todd Grenier, Attorney William Finnan, Joe Greenwood, Seth, Harris. Okay. Yes. Beth wasn't here for. Apologize, folks. I'm just looking at minutes so we can adopt them. I don't think it's going to make a difference because we still don't have even one. We're going to move to. Sure. So for the February minutes, Jessica, Supervisor Puccioni, myself, Attorney Finnan.
We're here.
Yes. And then, I mean, Seth was here and Aaron was here. Not at the February meeting. The January meeting were, Supervisor Puccioni was not.
Meeting.
So you tell me where it's over.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to get around it. Probably not. He was present, so they probably just have to be unadopted minutes.
So we're going to table the minutes. So we're looking at that further.
What about January?
January, Supervisor Puccioni was here. It was in reverse. Supervisor Puccioni was not here. The Deputy Town Supervisor Joe Drescher was.
Okay,
He would have to be here
today.
today.
Well, we had a quorum in January, so we just need Joe. That's done. Wait,
Jess, myself, Attorney Finnan, PBA Representative David Powell, Joe Greenwood, Deputy Supervisor Joe Drescher. Yes. Okay, moving on. Operationally, the towing bid is ongoing. Just to put it on the record real quick, I'm working with our new Deputy Town Attorney, Chuck Cini, also with Town Attorney Elena Finnan on this. One of the things that we're going to have to talk about is the fee structure, and that's going to have to be obviously adopted through resolution. So there's more to come on that. And speaking with Chuck, obviously we're going to have to have a conversation with town board members about that fee schedule in advance of it being proposed. One of the things that we talked about internally was with regards to whether or not we're going to do a set administrative fee. Go ahead.
my initial thoughts are, depending on how it's structured, if it's an administrative fee that's collected by the tow company but paid to the town, and it's the tow company's fee, they're paying us a portion as an administrative fee, then it does not need to go to town board, it's just
Okay. Is that also in the secondary case where we do an administrative fee blanket for the year in the contract?
That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the circumstance I was thinking of.
Understood. That's because that's why I called you earlier. I was looking up in town code when it talks about fees assessed for, it's very specific to any vehicle parked, abandoned, or as an emergency. It's not
Not those other ones.
those other ones, right?
Policy.
Okay, we'll talk
So
more
we
about
can
that.
look at the code too in conjunction, just make sure the code's good with whatever we are doing with the RFP.
Okay, awesome. House of Kids Reading Program, we're at Rosendale. They are the host school for March. So you get positive feedback about that. Under operations also, I just want to touch on traffic engagement. We had released some of these statistics into the media through various outlets as we continue to talk about Route 7 and the ongoing engagement efforts of our department to keep those roads safe. We ran an analysis from basically the start of our traffic division in November through the 23rd of February, from 2023 to 2024 versus the same time frame from 2022 to 2023, if that makes sense. Our overall traffic enforcement details went from 104 during the 2022 to 2023 timeframe to 407, 2023 to 2024. That was an increase of 291%. Traffic stops went from 627 to 1,203, a 92% increase. Traffic tickets total went from 338 to 930, which is a 175% increase. And then one of the main stats I want to focus on is the total traffic tickets on Route 7 went from 178 to 560, which is a 219% increase. And that represents about a 60% rate of summons on 7 versus the total ticket number. So we were out there, the Cliff Notes version is we're out there, we're doing enforcement, we're doing engagement, and we want people to understand loud and clear that we're doing everything we can to keep it safe. You know, I spoke about this openly several times. Not all of it made it obviously to the news articles. Personal responsibility. Please, please, please make a good choice. Drive safely in our town, drive safely in our community, encourage others to do the same, because we all know that there's an ultimate price that could potentially be paid if we don't make those good choices. So please continue to drive responsibly. Fleet and equipment. We are working, actually, we put out the mini bid to purchase two new patrol vehicles in conjunction with Janet Wayne of the Comptroller's Office. We already received one response back, and we're hoping it's a 7-day window, we said?
We have until, or gave them until the 18th.
Till the 18th to get some of those mini bid results back. As a part of that, there is a possibility we did something a little different this time. We put the mini bid out for not only Fords, but for Dodges. And that's just to see sort of what the cost savings difference would be. Again, these are for our patrol vehicles, which have generally a life expectancy of 3 years. So it's not that it's not important, the type of vehicle we choose, because of course it is, but it's not a long-term investment that we're necessarily looking at. We're looking to make sure we're being fiscally responsible, safe, and getting our best overall value. Also under fleet and equipment, the auction of 3 decommissioned police vehicles. We have a 2016 gray Jeep, 2018 white Ford, 2020 white Ford. Once we get the go-ahead through resolution to be able to auction those vehicles, Deputy Chief Twitty will be working with our company to get those posted and ready to go, and see if we can't get some monies back from those vehicles. For building, we still have that ongoing fencing and wall. I'm hoping to have another conversation with Superintendent Ray Smith regarding that as we come into spring, because we've been waiting for it to sort of warm up. Under training, Detective Martin Mansell will be attending trash management school level 4 from March 25th through the 28th. This is the last section of that crash management school, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
So the technical.
Yeah, it was a 4-part series. So that's awesome that they're almost done with that. Sergeant Morrow will be attending a course on police supervision from the 18th of March through the 5th of April. This is a mandatory course on police supervision. You have to take within 1 year of being promoted to the level of sergeant. Officer O'Brien is scheduled to complete his field training on the 13th of March. We'll continue to evaluate his progress. So far, the results and feedback are that he's doing very well. So that's awesome. Officers Guest, Spataro, and Breslin will be attending peer support team training from the 25th of March to the 28th. We continue to send folks to these trainings because we're trying to build out a peer support network within our agency and hopefully actually build it out into the county as a whole. We've been working with the UCC with Director Kevin Spawn regarding this. You know, he's the one putting on this training because he believes in it so much, and we're looking to really build a good peer support network countywide. Citizen correspondence, we still have ongoing. John Oak, he requested us to evaluate the stop sign at Windsor Drive at Briar Ridge. Laura Robinson's aware of this. We spoke about it. I think we just need to think about this one only because it's not a traditional intersection. There are pedestrians that walk over there with a walking path, and it's something that I'm hoping she'll take to Complete Streets to kind of do an informal survey about the pedestrian traffic and what effect it has. If we were to remove that and just have a consistent traffic flow there. Mark Gibbons requested us to look into traffic cameras on Route 7 to assist with the ongoing efforts of Route 7. It's something that we need to continue to look into the process. I was hoping that maybe truck contact Albany's corporate counsel down there to see how they did it, if possible, if that's okay with you. Under new, I just want to touch on a letter we got, thanking Officer Pavada from William and Suzanne Hodgkins. It was on the 10th of October. Again, the Cliff Notes version is they were victims of fraud. You know, they wanted to thank Officer Pavada and our department as a whole, but specifically naming him for the excellent professional service he provided to us during the most difficult and emotional time that they had. And just to quote them, we cannot think of anything more anyone could have done that would have exceeded the compassion and professional approach Officer Pavada performed that day. Thank you to Officer Pavada for going out there and doing that and giving our community members that love and that service that we expect from ourselves for our community. So thank you to him for doing that. And thank you for them for reaching out to us and letting us know that, right? That's important. If you have anybody who has positive feedback, we always love hearing that. Crimson Oak and Van Antwerp Road Neighborhood Coalition letter. This is something we're working on. We had a crash there in February, I believe was the time frame. We had some residents that formally put together a letter requesting to meet with county officials and town officials about some of their concerns over in that area. I'm working on a traffic analysis of that area for us to look at and analyze to see what specifically we can work with them as far as their concerns. One of the main things my understanding is, and talking with Aaron about Complete Streets, was the walkability of the area. And obviously we have to bring in our county folks to discuss that, because it is a county road, to see what a long-term plan for pedestrian safety could look like from that aspect. Town events, Cover the Cop. I am there the third Tuesday monthly. Please come see us and hang out. We have a great time. Target, Friday, the 15th of March from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Sergeant Relation, again in our community engagement division, is going to be there with those efforts. Thank you to Starbucks for continuing and Target to support that for us. Drug Take Back Day is going to be on April 27th from 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. Deputy Chief Twitty loves this event. I say it every single year. It's his favorite time of year, doing the Drug Take Back Day, because he gets to smile and take drugs from everybody and get them safely disposed of.
He doesn't take the drugs.
Well, he takes them in and
Yeah.
helps dispose of them. Yes, yes. I didn't put it on this, but I need to mention it out loud to just add to the agenda. We have a women's law enforcement recruiting event that is coming up on March 12th. It's on our Facebook page. There's a registration form you have to complete. It's at the Albany Capitol Center, 55 Eagle Street, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's hosted by the FBI in Albany in collaboration with all of our local partners. Sergeant Henry and Officer Guest will be there with our table, engaging hopefully our future law enforcement. We're excited about the event, to participate in it, and we're hoping that we get a good turnout. Because as we all know, we need more women in law enforcement. We need people to apply and come out and be a part of our team. So that's awesome. Under Town Clerk, I left it. We talked about it last meeting, the digital records retention. I spoke with Supervisor Puccioni. I spoke with Councilmember Brennan. I spoke with Deputy Town Supervisor Joe Drescher. I spoke with Systems Administrator Seth Goldstein. Everybody, Town Attorney been in. As part of this process, it's my recommendation in looking in town code that there is in fact a records advisory committee that's supposed to exist. It was, make sure I get the exact terminology down. It's a records advisory board under section 40-5. And it seems like this sort of a project would fall under that particular advisory board. There was a resolution that Town Clerk Michelle Martinelli, in discussions that we had in an internal meeting a while back, brought up regarding this. It was resolution 2021-196. And in there were appointees for this: the town supervisor, their designee, town attorney or deputy town attorney, town board member designated by town supervisor, town clerk or his or her designee, and the department head designated by the town supervisor, which was the department head in the positions of systems administrator. So I think that this is a good working group to begin this process to put together a formalized plan on how we would go about this as a town. And speaking with Town Attorney Finnan, the plan is the biggest piece of this. We have to have a really good formalized plan to be able to get this done. So I'm hoping that that is something we can get an email going about and making sure. Jim, you were okay with Joe being sort of the point person on that records advisory committee that we spoke about and kind of organizing and coordinating? Okay, that's awesome. So we'll try to link him
Great job.
and Michelle together to start working on that. That'd be awesome. I got nothing from the courts, nothing from the fire departments. Under school district, the bus patrol update, March 27th, our notice of liabilities will be issued. I'm going to put out publicly that in the first week, we had 75 events where we had folks going around our school buses. There was, I believe, 4 or 5 that we declined based on the circumstances because it was, inside of the school parking lot where the bus sign was out. The person actually walked to their own car in the parking lot and subsequently drove the opposite way through the parking lot and it just picked it up. Things like that. But 75 events for the first week seems pretty high there. And I'm hoping that we get those numbers lowered over time very quickly because we want our children and students to be safe as they're entering and exiting our buses. School speed zones. Councilmember Brennan brought it to my attention that on Rosendale Road, we do not have a school speed zone there. And I did a little research. I spoke with the county regarding this. I also involved town planner Laura Robertson in the discussion once I spoke with the county. And it appears as though we have the ability to set school speed zones based on what the regulations are to set that. Where's my piece of paper that I have? I can't find it. Currently, we have speed zones in town code on Birchwood Lane, Dexter Street, Story Avenue, Union Street, which sort of surprised me. And then Van Antwerp Road. Yeah, just that we set on Union Street because Union Street is, but in speaking with Laura Robertson, she, obviously we want to make sure that we're meeting all the requirements to analyze this and do it appropriately per the letter of the law. So we're going to look to get some sort of an analysis done, possibly by a traffic engineer, to make sure that as we move forward, we understand the gravity of what we have to do because there's measurements that have to be taken from exit and entrance points and things of that nature. So that's something we're going to continue to work on.
Is it only Rosendale that was missing then, or?
No, to your point, and we did speak about this, I forgot. There is not one for Craig School, and Laura could speak to it better than I could, but she mentioned that she's been speaking with the state for a number of years to try to get one there. But you and I spoke about maybe something with Zena Road in conjunction with this. I don't know if that's something that we want to look at too. I know I'd mentioned to Jess, in the past we'd had complaints about speed on Zena Road because of the soccer fields. That doesn't traditionally happen during school hours, but it's something maybe we should discuss as a part of this. So. Under personnel, ongoing efforts to recruit and to canvass. I have to be honest with you, we're striking out so far pretty heavily. We canvassed the 95s, the 90s, and the 85s, and there's very few people that are meeting the very preliminary requirements, including the physical agility test. So we're going to keep working through that and hopefully get some candidates to get into the academy, but we'll take it as it comes. Under other, the Civilian Police Academy began on March 5th. Myself, Deputy Chief Twitty, Lieutenant Frenier attended the opening ceremonies, if you will, of the Civilian Police Academy. It's a 6-week course. I put 12 participants. They actually had 15 scheduled. We didn't have a great training the first day. However, we had some really good discussions. We have one town resident, and I consider her a town resident because she just always comes and just ride-alongs and stops by. But we had 2 people that were very familiar with that engaged in this. So that's good that we had a good showing from the town's perspective of folks that we know that want to learn more about what we do. Also under other, didn't make the agenda, it's my apologies. The event application form.
Yeah.
This is something that we talked about internally probably 2 years ago now. Only you and I talked about this concept where we would have some sort of formal forum for anyone that's looking to conduct an event in the town. An example would be a marathon or a 5K or a food truck event or whatever the case is, so that there's an application process where we're speaking with all the correct people involved to navigate what that looks like, including insurances and liabilities and all of the rest. So Aaron offered to sort of look into that further and come up with some good examples.
I think what we'll do is maybe I could circulate some of those examples and we could doctor something up that works for us and then maybe share it next meeting. I think there may be an opportunity for us to kind of loop this in with the new scheduling piece that Parks and Recreation are using. Even though that's like scheduling of certain areas, my guess is that they probably have something very similar in which you can kind of ask questions, and maybe the form itself is actually like a digital application process, which might make it a little easier for it to circulate to where it needs to go.
Well, and Beth, you and I had spoken about this in the past, so I think it also needs to be a part of the club programs, because what happens is, because I'm a dad and I go to these things, food trucks just show up. And sometimes when they have these bigger tournaments and there's not a whole lot of consistency. I don't know from the town's perspective. We talked about, what if somebody, because I had somebody call me and ask me, why are we, is that allowed? Kind of a thing. And I sat there and said, I don't know. Right. So I think it's a big discussion that I think would be important to include, you said, in all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where I'm going to start, is just kind of gathering some of the examples that I've seen out there, and then also touching base with, it would be ideal if we could have something that's digital rather than paper.
You might want to touch base with Michelle too, because they have some vendor forms too. So I don't know if there's a way that maybe that could
Get it
all
all
be kind of work
together.
together. Yeah,
Okay,
then
that's
it's streamlined a little bit, so that people have a one-stop place to look and they're not
Exactly.
searching.
Yes.
Would it make sense to have a spot or process for the schools to give updated, like, oh, on this day we're having Halloween parades if you're available and things like that? So you got like notice of school events that,
Full communication.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea. I wonder how we could
Think about that.
facilitate
Yeah.
that. I could even see if Carl might know.
And that's important too, because there are times where they have events where, if
You
your
don't
kid
know.
doesn't go to that school, you're not getting it from parents, right? And then is it a traffic concern, or is there other things going on?
I think Community Square is a good spot for communication. Maybe you select some of the contacts and then they have a way of sort of funneling information to you in a place where they can keep track of it. That might be an idea. I can ask about that one too. Though.
That's fine.
That's a really good idea.
That's all I have, and the only resolution I have for this month is the auction of these vehicles. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn? So, all those in favor? Opposed? And with that, we're going to conclude this meeting. We'll see everyone April 4th, 2024 at 3:30. Thank you for coming.